Have you ever heard your network is your net worth? Well, it's absolutely true. The relationships you build along the way create the access, exposure, and opportunity. And the best part is you can create it for yourself. See, success isn't just about what you know, but who you know. But how do you turn those fleeting encounters into meaningful connections that propel you forward? Thank you for joining us today on the Agent Power Huddle. I'm your host, Dill Ward. I'm a top icon agent with eXp Realty in Portland, Oregon. Hey, on a side note, if you ever want to visit, I'd love to show you around my town. I've been in the industry over 15 years, and if I had to start completely over, spoiler alert, I have in the past, I'm going to share with you my top 7 power tips to help you build or rebuild a network fast. So whether you're just starting out, maybe you had to take a step back from your business and you're ready to charge forward again, or you're just tired of being stuck at whatever level of life or business, these skills are deployable every day of the week. But first, networking kind of gets a bad rap. I'm so shocked how many times I hear people say, "Oh, I hate networking." What? You hate having conversations with people? Wait a minute. Last time I checked, you're in sales, right? Well, I just came back from hearing a pretty powerful presentation from transformational leadership coach Renee Rodriguez, and he breaks down what he calls sales math. He says if every one sale is worth about $10,000 and it takes 1.5 contracts to get a sale, and 2.5 meetings to get a contract, and 5 leads to get a meeting, that would mean it would take 25 conversations to find a lead, and every conversation could be worth $50. $50 just to talk to people. Now we're talking. My gut tells me people who have a negative belief about networking either haven't experienced the magic for themselves or just are unsure how to approach it. So let's get into it. Again, I'm going to give you my top 7 tips. So number 1 is energy. Energy is everything. You are your personal brand, especially in real estate. If anyone's going to mention you or refer you or even want to get to know you, your authentic, consistent, and congruent self. Now, I can't believe how many people I've met in real life that I'm like, wow, they don't show up anything like they do online, or vice versa. Like they're so powerful and cool and awesome when you meet them, and you're online, you're like, wow, you look like a corporate stuffy person in your profiles and all of the things that can be found about you, right? So it's super important when you're setting out to build a new network that you look congruent across all forms, media, and especially like all the different social media that you've left behind. I like to call this social media graveyard. Like maybe you used to have a profile somewhere and it's just still out there, but you haven't updated it and it still has like your drunken college picture on it. So always do an online audit of yourself, especially when you're setting out to go, I'm going to go meet a whole bunch of new people. You don't know what people are going to find when they go to look for you. Number 2, proximity and environment. Here's the thing. All of the most juicy contacts require you to be in the room with where they're at. And I think when people are just starting out, or even just maybe you've been going at your business for a long time and you want a different version of it. You want your business to show up with different types of people and different types of opportunities. They're not going to just happen by accident. You have to put yourself in the ring. And a lot of times it means taking invitations to things that sound really scary to you. You're like, that's expensive, or that's going to require me to travel, or I don't know anyone there. And all those uncomfortable edges are really the growth path. Like I am often an inviter. I'm a huge inviter. I'm always inviting people to different things. And I'm shocked how many times they're just like, I don't know, I might have to do something else that day. And I'm like, wow, I'm trying to like put access in front of you. And so it really occurs to me that most people just don't say yes to things that are in front of them. And then they're kind of complaining about why why they're not growing or why they don't have opportunities. And the thing is that no one's coming to put the crown on your head and say, you're ready to step into the next level. of development. And you have to self-assign. You have to be the one that goes, whoa, I don't think I'm ready for this, but I'm going to go there anyway. And a lot of times in environment, it's not about you being ready to be on level with other people. It's about you observing. And I'm a master at this. Like, I am constantly putting myself somewhere that I am so uncomfortable. I feel completely imposter. And I just know that that's where the growth is like when you're surrounded around people who are having a conversation, whether it's a bigger presence about money, whether it's a bigger presence about leadership or what's possible, even just being around people, what's possible. A lot of us grew up in environments where that wasn't the common speak. It wasn't the table talk to be like, you can do anything and you can, all these passed down generational limiting beliefs is like a lifetime of trying to peel back. And networking is one of those things that you think it's so much about you and how you are or what you've accomplished or what you haven't, but it's really about being humble and showing up and meeting other people and being curious and being helpful to them. And that's how you create that bond and that relationship. And we all have access to being kind, and we all have access to being curious and thoughtful. So that doesn't cost anything. So there's no limitation there. So my big takeaway there is say yes when you're invited, even if you don't feel ready. I always like to say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. It is time to graduate and leave the room and go to another room because you're not going to grow there. Okay, number 3. This one seems obvious because we are salespeople at heart, but when you make a new connection, somebody has to be the closer. Somebody has to make the move. So going back to how do we take fleeting encounters and turn them into long, meaningful connections, somebody has to be the one to do it. And I'm here to tell you, it's you. Be in control. Don't even have a business card. I think giving business cards is literally the dumbest thing ever. It's giving away all the control to the other person to follow up. And let's be honest, even great people with follow-up don't follow up, right? So, and I think that what's so funny is it's literally 25 seconds of tension, right? It's like, hey, I'd love to follow up with you. What's the best way to reach you, right? Like that 25 seconds of uncomfortable potential rejection will keep us from even asking for the close, even asking for the digits, right? So I'm going to give you my power move. I love to share this. It works 100% of the time. However, I will caveat, it requires you to have the right energy, right? You can't do this kind of stoic or weird or creepy. You have to just do it like energetic and flow. So this works 100% of the time. So I meet anyone anywhere and I'm just chatting with them for a few minutes and I'm always listening for something that can trigger me, something that I'm thinking about that I can send them. So at some point in the conversation, when the conversation's dwindling down, I'll just take out my phone and this is so weird. It's like psychological at this point. I'm staring at my phone and I go, what's your number? I want to send you something. And it's almost like NLP. It's like command language, right? They're just like, my number is, and then they just start saying it. And then I'm like, doot, 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 doot. I'm over here sending it. And then I say, great, I just sent you something. Actually, I just sent you my digital business card so you have it. I'm going to send you the thing later. And sometimes I have no idea what I'm going to send them later, but I will think of something. I will come up with something. But guess what? I just got their number. They just got my number. And now we're connected and the conversation has started. Because what's the next hardest thing about meeting someone after you've asked for their number is actually making the outreach. Yay, I've got your business card sitting on my desk, but will I ever do anything about it? The probability is low. So the reality is if you start doing the hardest thing right at the time that you're doing it, you're already in flow. Now it's so easy. And the next interaction from that piece can be a video message of like, it was so great to meet you. And just wanted to, I just thought of this one thing that I want to send over to you, this article or this resource. I'm always listening for how can I be helpful? How can I share something with this person that has value and just keeps our relationship like foster and kindled right off the get-go. I just think that this is such a power move, literally takes nothing except for a little bravery for 20 seconds. However, it may feel uncomfortable at first, but once you know that it works every time, you're just like, hey, what's your number? I want to send you something. And again, people just get zombified. They're just like, here's my number. Like they don't even know if they're giving it to you. So okay, number 4, be a connector, right? So be the middleman between all the things. If you are here on this call and you're a real estate agent, we are connectors between houses and people who want to buy them. So in life and in business and in relationships and connecting, being the person who wants to connect the other person to other people elevates your status like instantly. You become now the thing that those two people are talking about forever. Oh, remember when Dill introduced us at the one thing? Like you get to be part of the ongoing relationship almost like forever. So whenever I'm at an event and I'm super awkward and I don't know anyone, and I was kind of walking around, I'll meet one person, and then I'll just take that person and I'll just be introducing them to the next person so that I can meet the next person. It's just like a power move and it's so easy and it makes everyone kind of feel a lot more at ease, right? Because there's a little bit more play going on to the situation. I think a lot of times I've been in environments where everyone's so darn serious, everyone's so darn stuffy. And I've come to find out some of the most popular, influential people are just kind of shy. They don't know what to say either. They're just kind of standing there, you know? So you can literally go up to anyone and bring your energy, bring your authenticity, bring your curiosity, and invoke a relationship at will with these tactics. Okay, number 5, be open to serendipity. Now, what I mean by this is we think networking only occurs at networking events. However, that's just the place where we've deemed it's going to happen. But once you have a mindset of always being in flow with human beings and trying to collect some human beings for your CRM so that you can later follow up and build connections and possibly make sales or build partnerships, relationships, and vendors, it just happens at will. Like literally, I have met people in a grocery store, in an elevator. I got a roomie out of someone I met in a bathroom. Like it's just being open and curious and kind. And I think there's not enough of this energy in the world. I feel like when I see it out in the world, when you see another person act like this, it's just like a moth to the flame. You're like, oh, a human being with energy and curiosity and kindness. How can I have that person for my people collection, right? So when you're being this person, it's inevitable that good things happen to you, and you start to wonder, why is this always, showing up for me like this? And you probably know people like this. You're almost a little secretly jealous. You're like, why do they always seem to make things happen around them everywhere? Just walking out to the parking lot or whatever. And it's literally just a mindset, guys. You can install this belief into your brain today and proceed throughout the rest of your day with these thoughts, with these feelings, and ready and open to serendipity and how it shows up for you. Okay, number 6. Listen more than you speak. This one is told to us all the time and it's super obvious. But when we get nervous, we do tend to just blah, 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 about the dumbest stuff. We are wasting such precious, critical relationship building time talking about the weather and, oh my God, the drive here and the parking. I mean, it's so stupid. Don't be that person. Like, just like literally charge in and ask thoughtful questions. This may require you to train your brain to ask thoughtful questions. It may require you to practice. I recommend go on ChatGPT and say, what are the 10 most thoughtful questions to ask someone I just networked with to invoke a thoughtful conversation. Now, a lot of times they're going to punt back a dumb question, right? They're like, you're going to say, oh, like what's your favorite thing about the line of work you're in? And they'll answer blah, blah, blah. And then they'll just say, what do you think about the weather? Because they're just not that good at it. People are just not really that great at communicating. And let's be honest, COVID has neutralized the playing field. Everyone is socially awkward and fumbling through the interacting process, especially as we just text and PDF and Facebook and WhatsApp and all this stuff. Like, we're not getting enough practice, belly to belly, humaning with other people. So when you excel at these skills and you bring this kind of energy, it's just like people are just magnets to you. They're like, I want to talk to that person, especially when you listen to them, especially when you follow up with another question and another question. In the beginning, I was like, this is so weird. I've spent the entire time talking about them. I never even got to tell them I'm a realtor. What if I don't ever get to be a realtor to them? And I would go home like feeling so defeated. But then I realized, I was like, oh, they wouldn't have remembered if I even told them I was a realtor. However, now I know enough about them to fall, well, first to qualify if I like them, because that's the other thing about networking, the whole know, like, and trust. You're in the know phase. And as you ask more questions, you can determine the like phase. And if you're like, this is the human that I like, I would like to keep this one. Now you can foster the relationship and follow up and then invoke the other side of it, sharing more about yourself, right? Because if you spent the whole time talking about yourself, you never figured out if you like them, you never figured out if they had a need. I mean, people will tell you in the first conversation you have with them, oh, we're going to have a baby, or oh, my brother's moving here, or oh, I'm actually feeling like, where I'm living, I'm too far from my work. Like they will tell you these life pain points, and it's not the time to be like shoving a business card in their face, like I'm a realtor, it's the time to go, huh, noted. There is a life event need here that as I foster and build trust through this process, I could very well be their person. And I like to say, my methodology and theory around building a CRM or building a database is just your people collection. It's just like people you went out in the world, found, you liked them, no matter what context you met them in, you got to categorize them somehow, right? They're either someone you knew from band or someone you met at this club or this thing that you're part of, or they're in the industry with you and they're someone that you want to learn from. There's really 5 categories of people you can put them in. They're either a peer with you, they're a mentor or coach, somebody that you can learn from, potential prospect to buy, sell, or attract to your team. But really categorizing people as you're putting them into the thing so that you can nurture those relationships from the contacts and taking lots of notes, because the more you remember and show up in conversations later that you remember their dog's name or their kid's name or what their favorite whatever is, like it just builds so much trust, so much comfort with you. And I think that we can't say enough about how powerful it is to be present with another human being. All right, number 7, practice gratitude. So always thank people for their time. See how you can wow and delight them. Even the simplest of conversations that you have with someone, if you pull the move and you got their number, and then later you can send a message saying, if you're a little bit deflective of video, like number one is video message. Number one is video message to be remembered, to they see you somewhere else, they see your face. It's like branding in their phone. If you're just not comfortable with that, number 2 is audio message. Super easy. You hit the button. Hey, it's da da da. It's way better than voicemail. Voicemail is kind of like dying now. People tell me I don't even listen to my voicemail. I get the transcript. It's just like getting a text message because it's just a poorly transcribed text message, right? Because a lot of times what you said gets convoluted in the transcript. But the idea is that you can bring your energy consistent with the energy you brought to the interaction to remind them how you are. Now, obviously, if you're just hearing me for the first time, I'm always like this, la, 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 kind of running at a high buzzy speed. However, that is not required to be successful at this. You just have to be you. You just have to bring your essence. Maybe there's a quiet trust to you, and there's a strong but methodical personality in you that other people will just find so compelling. And that's why it's so important to be truly yourself. If you ever showed up at a networking event dressed completely different than you ever dressed, acting completely different than you ever act, you're just going to attract a whole bunch of stuff that you don't like. So I'm just going to recommend do not do that. But when you get to be fully you in that 1 to 3 minute interaction, and then you do it again in the audio or video message, they're like, 2 levels of consistency. Now, a lot of things I've seen happen in networking type structured things is that people do something one time and they expect immediate results. They're like, why doesn't everybody know me? Why doesn't everybody like me? Why is nobody like giving me opportunities and asking me to do things? Well, because nobody knows you. You have to start humble. You have to start from a place of just gratitude for every little bit of attention you get from people. And through that consistency, through showing up again, showing up again, showing up again, people are like, hey, it's you again. And you haven't annoyed me yet, so I should move closer and learn more about you. And right. And they used to say you only have a couple seconds or minutes to make an impression. And really, it's just like the first thing out of your mouth, because the people are already having a reaction. They're already like either engaged in you or disengaged in you. And I think this brings up another point. It's not on my list here, but it is another point. You do have to just like humbly accept rejection, because there are going to be times where people just do not have available bandwidth to take the inputs on what you're trying to output. And that's not personal to you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just not a match energetically in that moment. And I have seen so many people try to have one conversation with a person in an event, get defeated, and want to go hide in the corner the rest of the night and not do anything. Like, it's so crazy to me why you would let one person's interaction ruin the entire opportunity that you've set yourself up for by showing up. So just be cool. Don't get upset. Don't get ruffled. Just move on, right? And be cool with it. Just be humble in rejection, and know that rejection isn't really rejection about you. It's just rejection about that time and energy and space that was being held for that interaction wasn't available. But the best news is you turn 1 degree to the right, there's another human being right there. You can go and pick them up for the people collection if you want to. So, in review, I'm going to say, number one, most important thing, your energy, authenticity, consistent and congruency. That is all on you. Personal brand. If you're new to business, just know every single little thing that is attached to you, whether it's your Google profile or your Facebook page or your text message or how you communicate or how you show up or the shirt you wear or the smile on your face, it's all part of your personal brand. So be super mindful, super um, super intentional about, is it reflecting you and your core values and what you want? If you've been in business a while and you've just been kind of going at it, but you haven't really stopped to reset and get your congruency about where you're going, especially in real estate, have you been selling like bottom of the road fixer properties to people who barely care about you, and now you're ready to like move up the rungs and get referrals, like juicy referrals from great employed people that are easy to get loans and just want to buy a house and don't have super high demands? Like, if you want to attract those kind of people, then you got to realign your personal brand. If you want to do luxury, it's all a mindset. No matter what you want to do in your sale business, you get to go decide the people that you bring with you and your staple. And I'm going to remind you guys too, as realtors, we got to think about our vendors. I know a lot of times we're running through, just try to call anybody and everybody to get somebody to show up for something. But the networking required to build a powerful vendor referral network, to have people on speed dial to solve the problems we need to solve every single day. A couple years ago, I had to just fire everybody I was hiring because they were all driving me crazy. They weren't running their business right. They weren't showing up in congruency with how I wanted to show my business up. And I had to do an audit. And that was really hard because it was inconvenient. But I'm encouraging you to think about this. Who are you bringing to the table when you transact with clients? Your everything from your escrow officers to your painter to the landscaper to everyone that you implore to bring property sale happening is all part of your extended network. So you have to be super intentional about that piece as well. And I'm going to close this up with reminding you that the next biggest whale of an opportunity, like something that will change your entire life, you haven't even thought of yet, is one conversation away. One conversation with somebody who says something that lights a fire in your heart and makes you realize that you were meant for more, and you don't have to stand for whatever you've been tolerating up to this point, and that you are capable. No one is coming again to tell you you're ready. Put the crown on your own head and decide to go out there and get anything you want with just talking to people, being nice, being curious. Now, since we have a few guests here, I'm going to open up for questions. Does anyone want to go further on anything I talked about?
No, I appreciate your time. This is a great reminder for me. I'm getting back in production. Coming off a team where I did back end stuff for the last 10 years and coaching and recruiting and less production, and starting over, it's essential to lead by example. So I'm just kind of getting back into production.
Yeah. Well, and when you're getting back into production, it's fun to look back on your past. I actually just went through this recently where I was digging through all my paper files and I was like, I barely could remember the version of me that was doing that process, and then thinking about who I am today and who I want to bring into my world and who I want to serve and who we allow ourselves to decide we are deserving to serve. Why can't we take care of the top people, right? Like before, I think in the early parts of our career, we're just kind of, we'll take whatever anybody will send us. But
I used to tell my people, my team, I called it designing your client, like design your client how you want them to be and attract that, not chase everything. And yeah, so I'm just taking a bunch of nuggets I used to lay on everybody else and having to apply them myself now. So
putting it back in there. I know. And I like now in today's world, you can just take anything you love doing and make that your networking effort. Like I play a lot of pickleball. So I just love I'm just out there pickleballing and talking to people. Oh, I do real estate. It's just like anything that you love doing, just do more of it and just make a presence to it. Like come a little bit early, stay a little bit late, offer other people value and bring, oh, I brought you a smoothie today. I don't even know you. Just like be wowing and delighting people at every junction makes people so memorable.
I think it's easier too when you do the tips that you just shared and yourself to not fall into that comparison stuff too, because there's so much out there and it's easy to fall out of the things that work well for you if you're just chasing and comparing yourself to everybody else. So that's another takeaway I tell people too that are just getting into it is don't feel like you said, be congruent, be yourself.
And there's always room for greatness. There's so much mediocrity. And so I always like to say, no matter if you're starting day one, if you're listening to this out there on the replay and you are starting day one in your real estate business and you're so nervous because you don't know anything, there is always room for greatness, meaning just show up with a lot of energy and you can out energy everyone else. It will trump skill every time because people want to feel seen, heard, cared about. And that is just in low supply, y'all. The flat line of the energy of the world is pretty easy to rise above the bar.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you have an amazing day and go get him.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.